and welcome. My name is Robin and you're watching Robin Reads, where I read a lot of different books which you probably have never heard of. So today I'm going to talk about my favorite books of 2020. Super excited about that. I'm just going to start out with my favorite, and I've done this a little bit on genre, so I'm just going to tell you the genre and then my favorite book of that genre. It might be a little bit different, like different genres or something, but we will figure it out. So let's talk about my favorite book of the year. This wasn't a very hard choice actually. I had this one in mind for like most of the year basically. I read it pretty quickly in the new year. I can't remember which month, but pretty quickly. And that is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. So this book is about Ove, who lives on his own. His wife has passed away and he is pretty grumpy and just alone and doesn't feel very well. And basically this story is about him connecting with his neighbors and stuff like that, and also a cat. And I love this story because it was very familiar to me. I really felt for Ove. In my life I have had a lot of times when I felt alone because I actually don't have a lot of friends, and the friends that I have I can't see a lot, especially now. So I really felt for him and really got that feeling of loneliness. And just, yeah, it was just a very lovely story. And yeah, I just loved it overall and I highly recommend. Then the next book is on the YA contemporary. I think it's also sort of a little bit sci-fi. And that is Slay by Brittany Morris. So this book is about this girl and she basically develops this game which is called Slay. And Slay is a sort of World of Warcraft kind of game, but then with virtual reality glasses. And this is only for black people because black people get just a lot of problems with gaming, but just also in life, and she wants to create this safe space for people to go to and have a lot of fun and just be themselves basically. And yeah, she just figures things out with that game and stuff like that, because there are complications with it, like something goes wrong in the game, sort of. I'm not going to say what because it can be sort of spoilery, but yeah, I really love this book because of the story. I just really like the story. I also really like Ready Player One, and this is basically a little bit the same vibes, but with a very more real aspect about it, and very more diverse as well. I just like to read about the black experience as well, and also the game itself. It was super awesome, and yeah, I just highly recommend this one. Next book is in the fantasy genre, and that is The Fifth Season by Anke Jemisin. This book I loved because of everything basically. This one is about this woman, and in this world you can basically move the earth sort of with your mind, and she does that, but she one day sees that her son is killed and that her daughter is kidnapped by the killer, which is her husband. And she basically goes on this journey to find her child. And you also follow this young girl who is learning to be this kind of earth bender, which is very cool. And then a woman who is a pronounced earthbender sort of, and she does like missions and stuff. It's a very, very cool world, high fantasy, very high fantasy, and it's sort of sometimes difficult to understand, but I think the author did a very good job of explaining things and not too much. And just the writing was very good. Story itself was very interesting, and how the story wove together was also very good, and I highly recommend. Next book I talked about in my December wrap-up, and that is My Sister the Serial Killer. I've got it here, by Ayinken Braithwaite. This book again is about this woman called Coreed, and she basically tries to figure out what she needs to do about her sister, because her sister was a serial killer. And I like this book of all the aspects that it had. The writing I loved, the characters I loved, just the mysteries, yeah, sort of mystery in the story I loved, but I also really liked the struggle for Coreed, because she needs to find out, okay, who am I, who want I to be when I am in relation with my sister, what do I need to do, and stuff like that. I really like that. Also, this book is set in Nigeria, and that was very subtly woven into the story. It didn't explain things or something, it was just there, and I really enjoyed that. And just, yeah, I just really love this book. And then the next book is the only Dutch book on this list, and that is A Heart of Stone by Renate Dorrestein. This one is also a fiction book, I think you can say it. This one is about this woman, and she goes to live in her in the house that she has grown up on. And there has something happened in her past. You basically follow her when she's growing up as a young girl. Then you follow her when she's on her own. Basically her family is gone, you don't really know what happened. And then after that, when she's a grown woman and lives in that house again. And you start to figure out what happened to her, and yeah, just stuff like that. And also her mental health, and yeah. It was very good, and I loved just everything about it. The writing was just phenomenal. I really liked this author, and just the story itself was very cool. I really liked the different timelines. That was very well done, very woven in together, and yeah, just a very good book. The twist, or the revelation about her family was also very just shocking and just very good, and I highly recommend this one. You can read it as well because it has been translated. Then next book is in the non-fiction genre, and that is The Skeleton Cupboard by Tanya Byram. This book I got from Spotify, which was just very nice to me that this was one of my favorite books. I wouldn't have read it otherwise. This book is non-fiction, but also a little bit fiction. It's basically different stories woven together in one non-fiction story. And this one is about this woman who is a psychiatrist, I think. There was a little bit of a different name, I believe. And she tells about her clients, and you follow, I think, like 10 different clients or something, and just their stories are just phenomenal, and yeah, just heartbreaking and very hard to read, but also just very good to read about, because then you know what can go on in someone's life and stuff like that, and I just really love that one. Then on to the poetry book that I chose for my favorite, and that is The Black Flamingo by Jean Atta. I think a lot of people have read it this year, and yeah, I also really loved it. This book is about this guy named Michael, I believe, and he basically tells a story about growing up as a black gay man and finding himself and finding drag, and then being the Black Flamingo, and highly recommend. I loved the novel in verse aspect about it, and just story itself and how it was created, and yeah, just very nice, and Michael himself is also very cool. Then the next book is in the romance genre. Yes, I have one, and that is Better Than People by Rowan Parrish. I actually got this for Christmas. Yay, very nice. This book is about these two guys. One of them is called Simon, and the other one is called Jack. And Jack basically he he falls down and his leg is broken and he needs someone to help him with his dogs. He has a lot of dogs, very nice dogs, and also a lot of cats. And he needs something to care for his animals. And basically Simon comes to his house and takes care of the animals. But Simon is someone that is, has like social anxiety. And they get to know each other, and basically later on there blooms something. And I really love this book. It was very funny, but also a very real aspect about that, with the social anxiety of Simon, but also things that happened in Jack's life. And just, I just love this, and I highly recommend if you want to read an LGBT plus book. And the next book on the list is the science fiction book that I chose, and that is Strange Exit by Parker Peavyhouse. This one I actually read in like January, and I love this one. It isn't like the best written or whatever, but I just really liked it. It's like sort of a guilty pleasure, you know. And this book is about, if I can remember correctly, it's about this girl who lives on this spaceship. And basically it's sort of a matrix kind of thing. So the people in that spaceship are all plugged into the matrix, I would call it. And she needs to figure out how she can wake those people safely. And she's doing that in these different realms, because you have portals and stuff like that. It's very, very cool. And yeah, just this story is super, super cool, with all those portals and all the stories of the very different characters, and the story behind the spaceship, and the revelation at the end was like very good, and I just loved it. And if you liked the Matrix story, it's very more on the sci-fi side, because the Matrix is of course more in the real world, but this one is very more like sci-fi. You can basically think about what you want the world to look like, and that's really cool. Yeah, I really love this, and again, highly recommend as of all these books. Then the last book I want to talk about is the thriller that I chose as my favorite. This one was a bit of a hard one, but I thought I'm just gonna mention this one, and that is The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. So this book is about this woman who has, I can't remember what it's called in English, it's a very difficult name, but she basically can't go outside because she gets that anxious about it. And she sees something happening across the street in her neighbor's house. And she is the whole story trying to figure out what happened, what's going on, and basically that. I'm not going to say anything else because I think it's fun to get to know the story. And I love this because of the aspect that it had this representation of this anxiety, but also she is a psychiatrist herself, and she helps other people with their anxiety, which I really liked online. And yeah, just the story itself, the thriller aspect itself was very, very good. So yeah, those were all the books that I really loved this year, and I hope that 2021 will be another year that I love a lot of books, but we shall see. Comment down below what your favorite book was of the year, or other books that you just really, really enjoyed. And yeah, I really hope you liked this video, so please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe, and I will see you later.